So, welcome to our masjid, and all of you, as I said, some of you are old friends, and the others are most welcome. Farooq asked me to speak about anything I like, so the thing I like the most is this. I hope you will also like it. I call it connecting to the source, and the source is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We hear this ayat in every Jumu'ah, anywhere in the world, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ittaqullaha haqqa tuqatih wa la tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun. Which means, O you who believe, have taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as is His right. And do not die except in a state of Islam, as Muslims, as people who are in complete submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you read this ayah, and if you read the English translation, or if you read the Urdu translation, or at least these two I can vouch for, the others probably have the same format, you will see taqwa translated as fear. You will see it saying, O you who believe, have fear of Allah as it is His right to be feared. My submission is taqwa is not fear, because fear is a negative emotion. Ask anyone who fears somebody if they love them, and they will tell you that you fear them, you obey them, but you don't love them. Ask a child who goes to school and has a teacher that the child fears because the teacher beats them or whatever it is. So you ask the child, do you fear the teacher? He says, yes. Do you obey the teacher? Yes. Why do you obey the teacher? Because otherwise the teacher would beat me. But do you love the teacher? Say no. I don't love the teacher. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about the believers, He said about us, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. Allah said, and those who believe, they love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more than anyone and anything else. How do you bring these two things together? How do you bring the khashyat of Allah and the hubb of Allah together? The awe and majesty, the feeling of awe and majesty in the heart, and the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How do you bring them together? That concept is called taqwa. Taqwa is to fear not Allah, but to fear to displease the one we love the most. I want you to get your mind around this. Taqwa is not fear. Taqwa is the fear of offending, the fear of displeasing the one we love the most. So obviously, the more you love somebody, the more you will fear to offend or displease that person. Right? Now, so therefore this concept of taqwa, I want you to understand that, because the concept of taqwa is very important, because all the promises of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran are based on taqwa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised Jannah for the muttaqeen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised protection for the muttaqeen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised everything for the muttaqeen. Hidayat, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ, not هُدًى لِلْمُسْلِمِينَ. So taqwa is, being a Muslim is the boundary condition. You entered the door, but you are standing at the door. You haven't come into the house, you haven't tasted anything, you haven't experienced anything, you're just standing at the door. There's not much sense in standing at the door. If you entered some place, then go inside. See what it has to offer. That is taqwa. When we get taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is not the fear of Allah, but the fear of offending the one I love the most. My submission to you is that to love somebody, you need to know them. You cannot love somebody who you don't know. A stranger, if I just give you a name and say, do you love this person? You may know the name. You may know that just the name, by not much about them. You say, do you love them? Well, no, I need to know them more. Are they lovable, not lovable? And and so on and so forth. Now, how do you know and what do you know? We know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in three ways. We know Him by His glory and majesty. We know Him by the signs in His creation, His signs in His creation. And we know Him by the blessings that He has blessed us with. So three ways that we know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. By His glory and majesty, by looking at His signs in creation and recognizing them and recognizing the qudrat of Allah in those signs, and by being thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for what He has given us. My very old friend Hussein, old meaning in terms of he is not old, the number of years we have known each other. He is a phenomenal photographer. He is also my teacher in photography. And he will bear this out that one of the things, one of the most beautiful experiences in photography is not just taking the picture, but the detail to which that picture, because of the lenses and so on, it takes you and it opens your eyes to the qudrat of Allah. To say, this is my Rabb Jalla Jalaluhu. Such perfection in such minute detail. So let's look at each of these. Before we go to the glory and majesty of Allah, and then the signs of Allah, and then the thankfulness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the blessing. Before that, I want to present to you an ayat of the Quran from Surah Al-Anfal, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described and He gave us a meter to judge our connection with Him. So supposing you ask this question and say, am I connected to Allah or not? Or, yes, I am connected, I am Muslim, alhamdulillah, but what is the strength of that connection? Is it 1 bar, 2 bars, 3 bars, 4G, 5G, what is it? In our telephone term. Does it work, does it not work? Because you might be connected, but that connection might be so weak that it's as good as not having the connection. So you are still technically connected. When there is a list, yes, it will be ticked, but if you say, well, with this connection, were you able to speak? No. Could you do a video? No. It was as good as almost not having the connection. How do we test that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا ذُكِرَ اللَّهُ وَجِلَتْ قُلُوبُهُمْ وَإِذَا تُلِيَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُهُ زَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا وَعَلَى رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ. This is the ayat of Surah Al-Anfal, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned three things. Allah said the believers are those, they are only those who, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioned, something happens to their hearts. You can feel the connection in your heart. Their hearts shiver with the glory and awe and majesty and love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when His ayat, when the Quran is recited before them, then this increases their iman. In ayat is not only the recitation of the Quran, which is of course ayat, but it's also the ayat of Allah, which are the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in creation. So when you see the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in creation, the person recognizes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and their faith increases. So two things. One, with the name of Allah, with the kalam of Allah, the heart shivers with the glory or majesty of Allah. Number two, when the person hears the Quran, or when the person reads the Quran, or when the person sees the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every morning you stand in the mirror, you look at the sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And of course all the other signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Iman increases, and what is the result of this? وَعَلَى رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ. And the person, because of this, because he recognizes the glory and majesty of Allah, because his heart is alive to the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his life, this person has complete and total reliance and faith on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Which means exit stress, exit depression, exit anxiety, exit fear, exit every negative thing from the heart. The only thing which remains is the glory and majesty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So alhamdulillah, subhanallah, Allahu Akbar. So let's do that. What I'm going to do is recite for you some ayat of the Quran, and on the screen you will find the translations. All these ayat are familiar to you, but go to the translation as well. My brothers and sisters, nobody can introduce Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala introduced Himself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not leave it to anyone, including Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to introduce him as if it is second hand. Allah introduced himself in the Quran. To anyone who wants to, if somebody says, who is Allah? Allah himself told us who he is. So what did he say? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله والله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر سبحان الله عما يشركون. هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور له الأسماء الحسنى يسبح له ما في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. As I said, we all know these ayats. The key is when you read it, when you listen to it, go back inside yourself and see what is happening to my heart. And if something is happening to the heart, alhamdulillah. But if you find that nothing is happening to the heart is still full of negativity, still full of fear and apprehension and so on, then work on it. Work on it by reading more of this, work on it by reflection, work on it by introspection, work on it by learning to recognize the signs of the Creator in the creation. So the first of these things, as I said, to recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in three ways. One, by his own introduction in terms of his glory and majesty. The second is by seeing his signs. One of which is, of course, the ayat of the Quran, but also looking at his signs in creation. About this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ لَآيَاتٍ لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ الَّذِينَ يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ قِيَامًا وَقُعُودًا وَعَلَى جُنُوبِهِمْ ويتفكرون في خلق السماوات والأرض ربنا ما خلقت هذا باطلا سبحانك فقنا عذاب النار. The ayat from Surah Al-Imran, which all of us are familiar with. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the key thing I want to draw your attention to is this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala drew attention to his creation in the heavens and the earth. And Allah said, in the creation of the heavens and the earth, and in the alternation of the day and the night, there are signs for people of intelligence. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described who are the people of intelligence. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made two very clear definitions. The first definition is those who remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, standing, sitting and lying down. And these are the three possible body conditions of the human being. We are either standing, walking and so on, which is part of standing, or we are sitting down, doing some work, reading and whatnot, or we are lying down, sleeping, resting. So three possible situations, which means people who remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in every aspect of their lives. Islam is not restricted to inside the masjid. Islam is not the name of a bunch of rituals connected to worship alone. Islam is the way of living our entire life in such a way that we become winners in this world, and on the day of judgment when we stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we will be declared as winners. If your Islam is not doing good for you in your family, in your business, in your work, in your administration, in your country, in your society, in your neighborhood, then there is something wrong with your Islam. Not with Islam, with your Islam. There is something wrong with the way that you are operating and you are living that Islam. This is something we need to remind ourselves. This phone, for example, is designed to do many things. It's got a lot of pre-programmed stuff in it, it's got a lot of apps and so on and so forth, it can do this. But if I come to you and I say, the only thing I seem to be able to do is make a phone call. I mean, this phone doesn't work. What do you tell me? You say, no, the phone works. You don't know how to work it. Phone is fine, nothing is wrong with the phone. But to be able to use that phone, you have to up your game. You have to learn how to use the phone. That's precisely the situation with our Islam. May Allah protect us. Illa mashallah, except those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed. Otherwise, for most Muslims, Islam means I have a Muslim name, I eat biryani, I wear a sherwani, I go to the masjid on a Friday, I sit and listen to a khutbah, I stand behind the Imam is praying, I have no clue what he is reciting, and I make no effort to learn either. May Allah protect us. None of the stuff we know, we knew from birth. You have to make an effort. And believe me, we make a lot of effort. We make a hell of a lot of effort. People like even me, photographers, wildlife photographers especially, you won't believe the kind of, within quotes, unearthly hours that we have to get up. You don't know the kind of stuff, the kind of roads we have to drive, the places we have to go, because you want that perfect shot. You want that perfect bird shot. It doesn't come for free. It takes a huge effort, which we very happily make. I mean, we actually pay for it. None of this comes free. So you are paying for it, you are going to those places, you are putting yourself to, he's young, I am twice his age, I still do it. Because I love it. I mean, it's, absolutely brilliant, because it opens my eyes to the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But effort. Now, for the purpose of learning the kalam of Allah, what is the effort we are doing? So the first condition is, remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala standing, sitting and lying down. Second thing is, Allah used this word, He used the preposition and. He did not say or. He said and. People remember Allah and who reflect in the glory and majesty of Allah, who reflect in the creation of the heavens and the earth. What is the meaning of reflection in the creation of the heavens and the earth? It means to look at the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and then to research and then to read about them and then to be concerned and to investigate and to be curious and to set up experiments to see things and so on and so forth. يَتَفَكَّرُونَ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ is the definition, is the fundamental definition of science of every kind. All that we know in the name of science and all that we don't know in the name of science, which will probably become available to us when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens the doors for us, all of that comes under يَتَفَكَّرُونَ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ قِيَامًا وَقُعُودًا وَعَلَى جُنُوبِهِمْ and يَتَفَكَّرُونَ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Those who remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala standing, sitting and lying down. And then there is a sequential logic to this, as well as two independent things. So first recognize the Creator, then look at the creation. What is the automatic response? رَبَّنَا مَا خَلَقْتَ هَذَا بَاطِلًا باطلا سبحانك فقنا عذاب النار. Oh Allah, you have not created this in vain. You have not created this as a game. This is not an accident. It didn't just happen that the bar-tailed godwit is different from a bar-headed goose. And neither of them goes to the bar. It's not an accident. That didn't just happen like that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have made a word B-I-R-D. It has a beak, it has two wings, it has a tail, it has two legs, and that's it. Khalas. One kind of bird. Anywhere in the world you go, one kind of bird. This was possible. Allah didn't do that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created millions and millions and millions. Allah knows how many. We are busy killing them off, but I'm saying that what Allah created is. The question therefore to ask, I'm pre-programming you before I go into that part of my presentation. What is the question you must ask for everything? Those who heard this before. What is the question? Why? You must do that nicely. How do you say that? Why? Say it. Right, shabash. So now let's see. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala jalla jalaluhu, He created a bird called the bar-tailed godwit. The bird was named by an Englishman, and mercifully the bird does not know its name, otherwise I think it would have taken serious offense to be called a bar-tailed godwit. This bar-tailed godwit is a bird, it's a wader bird, it's a bird about the size of a snipe, which means that it's about this big. It will probably fit in your hand. This bird has the record of the longest migration in the world. And it migrates, it takes off in Alaska and goes all the way down to New Zealand. 11,500 kilometers non-stop in 9 days and nights. What does that mean? Think about it. When you read science, think about it. What does it mean? It's not numbers. 11,500 night, no. It means the sun is rising, the sun is setting, the bird is flying. It means there are oceans underneath, the bird is flying. It means there are cities underneath, the bird is flying. It means there are forests underneath, deserts underneath, the bird is flying. It means there are rainstorms and thunderstorms and snow and ice, the bird is flying. It means it's pitch dark night, there are no stars, there is no moon, there is nothing to navigate on, the bird is flying on course. No food, no drink, no sleep. Now they've researched this thing. And this is common not only to this bird, it's also common to your very common chicken. Which is that half the brain sleeps and half the brain is awake. And then it alternates. And the other half sleeps and this half is awake. The bird is flying. And remember, the bar-tailed godwit is a small bird. It's not an albatross coasting on thermals on a 12-foot wingspan. It's not. It's beating its wings. What's the question to ask? Why? Put some light into this. Why? You know why I'm saying that? Because the standard answer, if you ask somebody, why does it do that? They will say, you see, Alaska gets very cold, the Arctic Circle is full of ice, there is no food to eat, so the bird is flying for food. Simple question, why does it have to go to New Zealand for food? There are plenty of nice pubs in London, all kinds of food. So why does the bird go all the way to New Zealand? So what's the question? Why? Next bird. The bar-headed goose. This is a picture I took in Manas in Assam. The bar-headed goose. Now what's special about bar-headed goose? The bar-headed goose again takes off from Alaska, goes straight up in the air, 33,000 feet, and hits the jet stream current and takes off, flying at 1,000 miles a day. Now you know what's about the jet stream current at that height? Temperature of minus 59 degrees Celsius. Temperature of minus 59 degrees Celsius and practically no oxygen. The last time I checked, there was no bar-headed goose with oxygen cylinders on the back. And you ask people, you ask ornithologists, they tell you, well, you know, the bar-headed geese, they can actually fly better in low oxygen atmospheres. What does that actually mean? We have no clue how they do that. Take the same bar-headed goose. I don't practically ask you to do that, but take the same bar-headed goose. Say Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. Put it in your freezer at -6, it freezes. At -59, it flies. You know why when you came from America, what was the height at which your plane was flying? There was a time these people used to announce these interesting details. The pilots used to say we are flying at this altitude. Nowadays they don't seem to do that. Anyway, you know what? Usual altitude is around 40,000 feet, right? 39,000 feet, 40,000 feet. You know one of the reasons? Because if you look out of your window and you see a flock of bar-headed geese flying, you know what you must do? Say Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, say Alhamdulillah, say Alhamdulillah, say Alhamdulillah, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. You know why you must say all that? Because you are like 1 second from becoming toast. Because when your jet engine sucks in that whole flock of bar-headed geese, kaput. And that is the reason why you fly at 39,000 feet. You don't want to get anywhere near these geese when you are flying at that height. Or any height. There's actually a case of this happening in Washington where the whole flock of geese got sucked into a jet and the pilot, very, very amazing skill of flying, he landed the plane safely on the bottom of the plane. So nobody died, but the plane had to crash. If that happened anywhere else, they were all dead. What must you ask him? What question? Why? Why 39,000 feet? Why so high up? Again, scientific answers we have. But the question is still why? And a third bird, one of my favorites, the ruby-throated hummingbird. When I first saw this, it was in the Amazonian rainforest on the back of the Berbice River in South America, in Guyana. And the first time I saw this bird, I thought it was a moth because it was buzzing and going backwards and forwards. And in my head, birds don't fly backwards except hummingbirds. So I said to my friend Peter Ramsing, I said, "This is a moth." He said, "No, it's a bird." I said, "What bird?" And he didn't know that anyway. He said, "It's a hummingbird." Why am I saying this? Because this bird migrates. The male is slightly smaller than the female. The female weighs 4.5 grams. To give you a perspective, a teaspoon of sugar is 5 grams. So a female bird which is bigger than the male weighs less than a teaspoon of sugar. This bird migrates. And part of it migrates actually 2,000 miles. But part of the migration from South America to North America is across the Gulf of Mexico, which is a width of 600 miles. This bird does that in 26 hours of non-stop flight. It's a little bird like that. What is the meaning of 26 hours? It means the sun rises, the bird takes off. The sun is at midday, the bird is flying. The sun is setting, the bird is flying. Pitch dark night, no stars, no means of navigation. The bird is flying, on course, does not lose energy. 2 hours, the sun rises, the bird is flying. 2 hours into the new day, this bird lands in the United States of America without a visa. Now, we are told birds migrate for food, yes? But if you are a ruby-throated hummingbird and you are living in the Amazonian rainforest, it's like me living inside a bar of chocolate and surrounded by food. There's no shortage of food. It's a perennial rainforest. There's food everywhere all the time. Why must I go to the bank of the Mississippi River? Eventually they end up there. I don't know what's about the Mississippi River. They end up bank of the Mississippi. 2,000 miles of flying. Little bird like that. They beat their wings at over 1,000 RPM. Over 1,000 revs per minute. You can't see the wing beats, right? That's why it buzzes. And it flies backwards because it lives on nectar. So it inserts its beak into a flower and it comes out backwards. What's the question? Why? And the answer is so that you understand the tafsir of the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أَوَلَمْ يَرَوْا إِلَى الطَّيْرِ فَوْقَهُمْ صَافَّاتٌ وَيَقْبِضْ مَا يُمْسِكُهُنَّ إِلَّا الرَّحْمَنُ إِنَّهُ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ بَصِيرٌ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, do they not see the birds above them, spreading their wings and flying? Who holds them up except Ar-Rahman? Our brothers and sisters, I submit to you and I recommend you get into science in a big way. Don't let anyone tell you that Muslims should not study science or some of the stuff we hear. Muslims are the people who must study science more than anybody else. And that's why I say that when we start taking more interest in science than in football, we will get ready to show the world the science of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Science is the most exciting thing in the world. Whether it's physics, fundamental laws of physics is amazing. Whether it's chemistry, the way materials act with each other, whether it's biology, whichever. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to see His signs in the creation so that you build this bridge between Him and His creatures. The last of the ways in which we recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is through an attitude of gratitude. By recognizing His blessings within us. I will recite for you some of the blessings which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, but I want you to think about, and this is your homework when you go back today, to sit with a piece of paper and say, what have I been blessed with? Specific to myself. Ask this question. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Naba, أَلَمْ نَجْعَلِ الْأَرْضَ مِهَادًا وَالْجِبَالَ أَوْتَادًا وَخَلَقْنَاكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا وَجَعَلْنَا نَوْمَكُمْ سُبَاتًا وَجَعَلْنَا اللَّيْلَ لِبَاسًا وَجَعَلْنَا النَّهَارَ مَعَاشًا وَبَنَيْنَا فَوْقَكُمْ سَبْعًا شِدَادًا وَجَعَلْنَا سِرَاجًا وَهَّاجًا وَأَنزَلْنَا مِنَ الْمُعْصِرَاتِ مَاءً ثَجَّاجًا لِنُخْرِجَ بِهِ حَبًّا وَنَبَاتًا وَجَنَّاتٍ أَلْفَافًا. Allah mentioned different parts of His creation, some relating directly to ourselves, our sleep, our mates, some relating to the world around us. As I told you, think about your own self and ask yourself, what if this wasn't there? Ask the one who can't sleep. Ask people with insomnia the value of sleep. You hit your pillow 10 seconds, you're gone. And you wake up refreshed. Ask somebody, they may have a lot of money, they may have a lot of power, authority, glory, splendor, but they can't sleep. It's not a rare thing. There are many people in the world with insomnia can't sleep. Ask them the value of sleep. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, one of the most beautiful parts of the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ar-Rahman wa'allama al-Quran khalaqa al-insan 'allamahu al-bayan ash-shamsu wal-qamaru bihusban wan-najmu wash-shajaru yasjudan was-samaa'a rafa'aha wa wada'a al-mizan ألا تطغوا في الميزان وأقيموا الوزن بالقسط ولا تخسروا الميزان والأرض وضعها للأنام فيها فاكهة والنخل ذات الأكمام والحب ذو العصف والريحان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. Allah is asking a question. After beginning with His name, after mentioning His Kalam al-Quran al-Kareem, after calling Himself as the teacher of the Quran, after drawing our attention to our education, our reading and writing, Allah is asking a question. And what's the question? How many of my blessings will you deny? Rasulullah once recited this whole surah, not only this part. He recited this whole surah to the Sahaba. His companions were sitting there, they were listening, and he was reciting. Think about that. What can be more beautiful than that? To listen to the Quran in the voice of the one who received the Quran. The Sahaba listened to that recitation in silence. When they finished, when the Prophet finished, he asked them, "Aren't you going to say anything?" The Sahaba said, "Ya Rasulullah, what do you want us to say? There is no blessing bigger than this, that we recite, we listen to your recitation of the Kalam of Allah. We are very thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What do you want us to say?" Rasulullah said, "I recited the same surah to a congregation of jinn. And every time I said, فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ, which of my blessings will you deny?" He said, the jinn responded. And they said, لَا بِشَيْءٍ مِّن نِعْمَةِ رَبِّنَا نُكَذِّبُ لَا بِشَيْءٍ مِّن نِعْمَةِ رَبِّنَا نُكَذِّبُ لَا بِشَيْءٍ مِّن نِعْمَةِ رَبِّنَا نُكَذِّبُ. They said, "Oh Allah, we do not deny any of your name. Oh Allah, we are thankful to you for this." The Quran is not a bunch of magic words to be recited for some sawab. The Quran is the living word of the living God. It is the kalam of Allah. It is not a created thing, it is the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which Allah preserved for us. And alhamdulillah, the Quran we have today is exactly what Rasulullah received. And the Quran is asking a question. The question is, which of the ni'mat of Allah will you deny? That's why I want to give you a little exercise, not to do now, but later on, which is, ask yourself, what do I need to be grateful for? And list those blessings. And as I told you, if you get a bit confused and say which one is most valuable, which is less valuable, just ask a question. What if we wake up tomorrow without all the things that we did not thank Allah for today? Let me repeat. This is the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah does not take away. But I am saying, if supposing Allah said that tomorrow you are only going to have that which you thanked me for today. Believe me, there is not a single human being in the world who will wake up with everything that he had the previous day. Some of us will not have our spouses, some of us will not have our children, some of us will not have our parents, some of us will not have our jobs, some of us will not have our health, some of us will be minus our brain, some of us will be minus our faculties, no eyesight, no hearing. Yes or no? And I haven't even gone to the material stuff. I'm not talking about your Lamborghinis and your Bugattis and so on and so forth, right? Okay, then who cares about that? One, two things, and you will forget all your Bugattis. I'm talking about our personal, physical stuff. Not one of us will be left untouched if Allah had put this food. Now, how much to thank this Rabb Jalla Jalaluhu? We deny Him, we don't worship Him, we disobey Him, we ignore Him, we delete Him, and yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues to give us good health, He continues to give us intelligence, He continues to give us good friends, He continues to give us families, He continues to give us people who love us, who care for us, and so on, and so on, and so on. How do we thank Allah? That's why I want you to do this. I want you to take this as an exercise and do it. We come to the closure of this. And let me tell you therefore, since we talked about connecting to Allah, what is the benefit? The benefit is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned another ayat in the Quran, Surah Al-Ahzab, which you also hear in every Jummah. Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu taqullaha wa qulu qawlan sadida. يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, "O you who believe, have taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and fear His displeasure, and always speak the truth." Always speak the truth. It's not a qualified statement. Allah is not saying always speak the truth unless. No, there's no unless. Always speak the truth. And if you do that, what will happen? يُصْلِحَ لَكُمْ أَعْمَالَكُمْ. Allah will beautify your deeds. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will lead you to do good stuff. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will beautify, He will magnify, He will correct your deeds. And then He will forgive your sins. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَنْ يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. Only the one who obeys Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and who obeys the Prophet Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who obeys His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, only that person has achieved final success. I say final success because the word used is false. In the Quran, for success you have two words. Allah has used falah, muflihun. Falah is success, but success which is not final. Meaning, for example, you've done your A-levels. Is that the end of your education? Hopefully not. So you say, I did well in A-levels, but now what? You say, now I'm preparing for something else. You've done graduation, now what? I'm preparing for something else, post-graduation. You've done a good year in business, bumper year, now what do you say? You go to sleep? No. Now you got the next year coming. So success, but after it, there is some more test. This is falah. Fawz is final success. The one who has achieved Fawz, that person will never be tested again. That's it. And Fawz is in Jannah. Fawz is the last test which will end the day we die. And Alhamdulillah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all a good death on Iman, inshaAllah, with deeds which are good and with sins which have been forgiven. That person is home and dry. No more tests. Alhamdulillah. He or she will rest peacefully in their grave and then they will be resurrected for the day of judgment. And then it's only a matter of getting to Jannah, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will do. And therefore I say, there is time to reflect. And the time to decide what we must do with our lives. When does that time begin? Now. This moment. Allah said, I began with which ayah? Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha haqqa tuqatihi wa la tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun. O you who believe, have taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as it is His right that you must have taqwa, and do not die except in a state of iman, do not die except in a state of complete submission to Allah. How can you ensure that you die on Islam? By living on Islam. There's no rocket science. You can't say, well, I will live outside Islam all my life and then somehow at the moment of my death I'm going to enter Islam. Well, this probably would have been possible if you had known. If I know that I'm going to die on this particular day, then one day before that I straighten myself out. But this is not going to happen. Nobody knows when we are going to die. And therefore, what is the best way to ensure that you die on Islam? By living on Islam. The beauty is that if you live on Islam, you can live a very beautiful, very successful, very comfortable, very honorable, very decent, very socially responsible life in this world and die on Islam and get Jannah inshallah. Islam does not prevent you from doing anything which you enjoy. It does not prevent you from accumulating wealth. It does not prevent you from having power and authority. It just gives you the parameters of doing that, how to achieve it, and where to use it. There's no limit on how wealthy you can become. The parameters are earn it from in a right way, decent way, halal way, and spend it in a right, decent, halal way. Don't earn haram and don't spend on haram. And the same principle applies to everything else. So finally, we need to change our mental mode. Mental model. Now what's the mental model? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created this life and He gave us limited choice. You and I didn't choose to be born. We were born. We don't choose how long we want to live. That is decreed. You can't live 1 minute more, you can't die 1 minute before that. We did not decree whether we will be healthy or sick. We did not decree whether we will have families, children, how those children will be, healthy, unhealthy. We did not decree, or we cannot write for ourselves how much money I will make. I wish this one was true. Huh? Just write a number of zeros. Not true. None of this. However, limited choice. Total quantity of wealth is decreed, but how I will earn that wealth is in my hands. How I will spend that wealth is in my hands. Total lifespan is decreed, but how I choose to live that life is in my hands. Allah will not grab me by the neck and push me into the masjid. No. No compulsion. But the lifespan remains the same. I can say, no, actually I'm going to live longer. No longer, no shorter. That's written, is written. In this world we have limited choice. But you know the beauty of it? In the Akhirah, Allah left the pen in our hands. You want Jannah? Write it. What do you want in Jannah? Write it. You want palaces? You want artificial intelligence? You want flying cars? Imagine our imagination, at least my imagination, is limited by what we already know. This is true. This is true for human imagination. Human imagination is limited by previous past experience. What we imagine is a product, or it's an iteration of what we already know. Whereas Jannah will have things that you can't even think about. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, تَتَجَافَى جُنُوبُهُمْ عَنِ الْمَضَاجِعِ يَدْعُونَ رَبَّهُمْ خَوْفًا وَطَمَعًا وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ فَلَا تَعْلَمُ نَفْسٌ مَا أُخْفِيَ لَهُم مِّن قُرَّةِ أَعْيُنٍ جَزَاءً بِمَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. Allah spoke about the people who stand up in the night and worship Him, people who pray the Hajj. Allah said, those who stand up in the night from their beds and stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala بَيْنَ الْخَوْفِ وَطَمَعٍ, between a state of fear of displeasing Allah and the hope of His forgiveness. The person is aware of himself and he is also aware of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's greatness and forgiveness. When they stand in that state, Allah said, if they knew what I have kept hidden for them as a reward, it would be the coolness of their eyes. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His mercy. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you that which you ask. I'll ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help you in ways that you could not even imagine.